So a very good morning to everyone here in the James Watt Centre at Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh, and a warm welcome to everyone joining us online. Wherever you are, welcome to this year's annual Stakeholder meeting. This meeting is an important moment in the university calendar. As a charity and under the Scottish Code for Good Higher Education Governance, we're accountable for our performance, and we are delighted to share with you today some of the successes of our staff and students, as well as some of the challenges we face. You will no doubt be aware the landscape for higher education is challenging, with economic and geopolitical instability combined with rapid changes in areas such as digital technologies and AI. The University Court is responsible as the governing body for the stewardship of the university's resources, with a focus on long-term sustainability. In the reporting year 2023-24, we commissioned our 5-yearly independent review of governance effectiveness. And this has helped us to continuously improve our overall governance approach, which is designed to support proactive assessment of the risk landscape and good decision-making. At Heriot-Watt, we put people at the heart of our thinking and decision-making, and we have a shared purpose to deliver excellence and impact in research and learning that benefits individuals and society, with graduates who are career-ready. We're very proud to be first in Scotland and second in the UK for graduate outcomes, and the Principal will report on some of the other key academic achievements reflecting the quality and impact of our staff and students. Our reports and financial statements for 2023-24 reflect strategic progress and financial resilience in what remains a challenging landscape for higher education in the UK and globally. And I'm pleased to note that our results being discussed today continue to be in line with our 3-year plan expectations, and you'll hear more on this from our Global Chief Financial Officer, Martin Pringle, later in today's session. Looking to the future, the university has been developing its 10-year institutional strategy, Strategy 2035, that builds on our strengths, our Scottish heritage, and our global footprint. With a focus on long-term sustainability, the university is rigorously managing its resources to move year on year to a financial break-even position and then to creating a surplus to support the strategic investment essential for the delivery of our strategy. So now please let me introduce you to our University Secretary and Chair of today's meeting, Ruth Moyer, and also to congratulate you, Ruth, on your recent additional appointment as Vice Principal of Governance and Operations. Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce, and a very warm welcome to you all here in the room in Edinburgh and online. We're delighted you could join us. May I also welcome our presenters and our panel. We have Martin Pringle, our Global Chief Financial Officer, Professor Gillian Murray, Deputy Principal for Business and Enterprise, the Principal, Professor Richard Williams, Mercedes Marotta-Valley, Deputy Principal for Global Sustainability, Professor Steve McLaughlin, Vice Principal, Penny McIntyre, our Global Director of HR, and the Student Union President, Cameron Fields. As Bruce mentioned, our theme today is driven by purpose, measured by impact. And following the presentations that you'll see, we're going to open up for a Q&A session, so do be ready with your questions. Now, let me hand over to our Principal and Vice Chancellor, Professor Richard Williams. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ruth, and may I add my welcome to our annual meeting and celebration, actually, in presenting our annual report for 23-24. And of course, our commitment to positively influence the world and to lead with purpose and serve the public good has been reflected significantly across all our global campuses. And I want to tell you some of the amazing stories over the last year. As Bruce has said, the higher education landscape faces pressures, including reduced funding in Scotland, stricter visa policies, and rising costs. And across our campuses in Dubai and Malaysia and Galashiels, Orkney, and here in Edinburgh, our core strengths, which are excellent graduate outcomes, deeply rooted industrial partnerships, and expanding international reach and engagement also with non-traditional learners, those core strengths remain intact and are flourishing. Whilst not wanting to underestimate the scale of financial challenge ahead, I believe we are positioned to respond with resilience and foresight. Our strategy to diversify income streams and reduce dependency on government funding has been prudent. We've invested in transnational education to mitigate recent cuts, and by focusing now on operational efficiency, digital learning, and strategic partnerships in research and education, we continue to deliver outstanding value and global impact, and we remain at the forefront of our specialized areas of research. The growth in transnational education, which has always been a part of our history, has continued, and there have been three key engines for growth in recent periods. Heriot-Watt Online, our Dubai campus, which actually is now operating at full capacity, and also, thirdly, a new partnership that's opened up with Zubanov Aktobi University in Kazakhstan. In all of this, I did want to actually celebrate the student partnership agreements with our student union, our sports union, Dubai Council, and Malaysia Student Association. And to be frank, few institutions enjoy the trust and the cooperation that we foster working together with our student bodies, and we're very proud of that. We continue to prioritize student satisfaction, and we were pleased to see the enhanced outcome of that reflected in the UK's National Student Survey. And you know, amidst all the global challenges, war, conflicts, I'm proud to say that our community values, which rely on connecting and supporting our own students, our own alumni, our own staff, those values have been executed across our whole international community to support one another. And this is surely what a university is about. Well, this year, our Chancellor, Emeritus Professor Sir Geoff Palmer, received Scotland's highest honour, the Order of the Thistle, acknowledging his contributions to education and equality. And his recognition also this year has been in featuring in the Royal Portrait Collection, marking Windrush's 75th anniversary. And his portrait is now part of His Majesty's permanent collection. Sir Geoff is unable to be with us today, but sends his warmest and heartfelt regards to everyone. Now on to some of the key academic and strategic achievements. We've achieved the highest result possible in our quality enhancement and standards review, which of course takes place with global participation across all of our campuses. We've also gained full accreditation for our UAE programs with our new federal authorising body. A major milestone for us in research has been to secure our targeted £68 million worth of income, new grants announced during this year that we're reporting. And this includes co-leading a £20 million sustainable transportation hub initiative and winning partnerships in 8 new centres for doctoral training. This is particularly extraordinary because it represents a 10% share of the whole UK's total for such centres. Accessibility remains a cornerstone of our intent, and in the period we're reporting, over 32% of our students coming to us come from underrepresented backgrounds through decisions we have made to open up pathways and to deploy the funding that we obtained through our 1821 appeal. Thank you to those who have actually supported that. Heriot-Watt Online continues to expand, most notably and very recently since the reporting period in a partnership with Coursera, offering innovative online programs to those studying at home or work. Our leadership in sustainability was particularly evident during COP28 in Dubai. Our Climate Hub hosted over 50 events, partnering with the UK Foreign Office to showcase 20 clean tech companies. King Charles III, joined by Lord Cameron and the then First Minister, Humza Yousaf, inaugurated our new Dubai campus, our third campus. The King expressed strong interest in our work in the use of AI in fishing technology. Now, as our plans to lead out in the area of sustainability continue, we are launching our climate advocacy program, which will be something for all of our staff, all of our students, all of our alumni, and continuing to advance and develop a range of green tech innovations supported by our Chief Scientist, Professor O'Donovan. Other events, of course, we've been globally active in Asia and Africa. We were delighted to award an honorary degree to Zambia's President, Hakainde Hichilema, for championing universal education principles in Zambia. Indeed, projects in Zambia and Rwanda further our commitment to sustainability projects involving cooling and agricultural technology. For us as a university, the development of leaders remains a priority, and we've concluded a very successful pilot for our internal global leadership program, cultivating future leaders across our campuses, and which has now taken on, in fact, its second cohort this year. Staff well-being, of course, remains a strong priority for us, with free counselling and promoting participation in sports and social activities. And indeed, just to highlight one of the developments in the last year has been the development of access to new facilities like our new indoor tennis courts in Scotland at Oriam, which reflects our commitment not only to well-being, but our commitment to partnership working with other organisations. Efficiency remains central to our strategy as we look ahead. Improvements in management information and data-led approach have helped us to be more agile and enhanced our decision-making processes. And our digital transformation has greatly improved our service delivery internally, with benefits to staff and indeed to the student experience. So whilst the international numbers in Scotland fell short of expectation, which of course is part of a nationwide trend, we in fact were one of only two Scottish universities to achieve year-on-year growth in international students. Despite a resulting 10.5 million deficit that you will see in the accounts, that excludes pension revaluation impacts, our fiscal outcome reflects prudent cost management that we have introduced and growth in research and other non-tuition income. Our leadership and our governing body, as Bruce explained, remained committed to restoring financial surplus over the next 2 years, with a sharp focus on efficiency and effectiveness and delivering a margin. And this will be achieved through our ongoing review of our academic portfolio and of our operations. Well, as we approach our new strategy that Bruce referred to earlier, Strategy 2035, we do so with confidence, evolving our societal impact, particularly through our mission-focused global research institutes. These are providing a platform for outward-facing, cross-disciplinary research with impact. And also our fundraising campaign, Shaping Futures, which launched in October last year, will further our mission, supporting impactful research and expanded access to education. So in conclusion from me, may I take this opportunity to thank staff and students, alumni, and many people who volunteer on our governing body, the chaplaincy, and other advisory committees in schools and support services. All of these things make Heriot-Watt absolutely exceptional. And your dedication to governance and supporting academic and student life is deeply valued, so thank you. You are amazing. Thanks.
Thank you, Richard. And now I'd like to hand over to our Global Chief Financial Officer, Martin Pringle.
Thank you, Ruth. 2023-24 was a good year for Heriot-Watt University as we returned to a surplus position, posting an overall surplus of £49 million. However, as expected, the majority of this surplus was due to the reversal of the USS pension cost liability. Removing this, the university generated an overall operating loss of £10.5 million as per our plan. Whilst a loss, this is a £5 million improvement on the previous year and shows the results of the proactive expense management and income-generating activity currently being undertaken by the university. As we know, there are severe financial headwinds facing the higher education sector in Scotland, and therefore it was especially pleasing to note that Heriot-Watt increased its overall income by circa 7% to £292 million this year. This represents a 27% increase in income over the last 5 years. A key part of this is our growth in research income, which reached circa £55 million this year. During this period, our expenses have risen by 22% to £301 million, excluding the USS pension adjustments. However, the year-on-year increase has only been 2% as we continue to implement our laser-like focus on expense management. It is vital for the long-term sustainability of Heriot-Watt that we return to a break-even position. This will help ensure we generate the cash required to invest in the future, enabling Heriot-Watt to continue delivering great outcomes for our students. We are making great strides in achieving this, and this year expect to post an operational loss of circa £6.8 million, before returning to break-even next year. This will be achieved by continuing to focus on our expense base, minimising discretionary spend wherever possible, and we can see the results of our activities to date with our lower operational cost base. We will continue to proactively manage our expense base to generate a return to profitability on an operational basis and to ensure our financial stability in the future. Thank you. I now invite you to watch a short film on growing universities' footprint globally with Professor Sara Lombardo, Claire Roper-Browning and Russell Brooks.
Welcome to everyone joining us at the James Watt Centre or online. Today, we will explore how Heriot-Watt University is growing its global footprint through online education, new partnerships, and innovative programs. Russell, Heriot-Watt has made significant strides in expanding our online presence. Can you share some of the strategies that are driving this growth?
Thanks, Sarah. So we have around 6,500 students who are studying with us from around the world for a Heriot-Watt online degree. And for us, the key priority is to make sure that our programs are meeting the needs of those students. So nearly all of those students have rich and complicated lives. They're managing study with other commitments, family, work. And so we know it's really important that our programs are flexible, they're accessible, and they're industry aligned. And so that's what we are putting a huge amount of effort into doing, is investing in both new program content, investing in our digital infrastructure and our support for those students to make sure that we're meeting them where they are in their lives and careers.
Thank you very much. And, Heriot-Watt is known for its strong focus on technical and applied learning. So how do we ensure that the online offering remains aligned with industry trends?
So there's two big things that we're doing at the moment. The first one, as you know better than most people, is that we're investing in developing new programs. So over the last year, we have built a new MSc in computer science, and we've just welcomed our first students to that. But the other thing that we're doing much more broadly around the portfolio is that we have now partnered with Coursera to make over 500 industry-developed micro-credentials available to students who are studying for a Heriot-Watt degree. So these are very contemporary, very career-aligned programs from organizations such as Salesforce, Meta, IBM, and we're now not just offering those to students, and with the MSc Computer Science being the first program, but also the MBA starting to really integrate those into our degrees too.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Russell. Claire, what role do the international partnerships play in expanding our global reach?
So the international partnerships are really important for growing our international coverage across a wide range of countries. Speaking of a few partnerships that we've had established for a long time, Jidian in China and Ocean University in China as well, are two partnerships which have continued to go from strength to strength. Other key markets as well, we continue to grow partnerships. India, for example, and also Kazakhstan. not just for student and student exchange, but also for business and research collaboration as well.
Thank you. And could you tell us a little bit more about the Global College? What are the major achievements of the Global College to date?
So the Global College has been in existence for a long time in both the Malaysia and the Dubai campus, and has recently launched within the UK. And again, this is really enabling us to attract international overseas students, but also it's playing a massive role in the widening participation agenda for Scottish students.
Thank you. That brings us back actually to Russell. So we celebrate 25 years of Scholar. Can you tell us a little bit more about the platform and how we have supported pupils in Scotland?
So Scholar is our platform where we provide online learning materials for students who are studying in high schools. There's around 140,000 students and 15,000 teachers and lecturers who have access to the platform and use it to supplement the learning that they have in school. It was very innovative at the time, and we've continued to invest in the content and in the technology to make sure that stays relevant today. And we're hugely pleased to have celebrated 25 years, and we're looking forward to hopefully many more years to come of success.
So thank you very much, Claire and Russell. Back to Ruth Moyer in Edinburgh.
Thank you. At the university, the student voice is absolutely vital to our good governance and decision making. So I'm really pleased to hand over to Cameron Fields, our Student Union President, to give an address. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. So as Ruth said, I'm Cameron, the Student Union President for our Scottish campuses, and I'm the lead representative of the Student Union. And I'm going to take this opportunity just to give a quick and a brief overview of who we are, what we do, and how vitally we're working in partnership with the university to improve the student experience. Everything we do as the union comes back to one simple mission: to make student lives better. And we do that in so many ways, through our independent advice and support, through societies and volunteering, through elected representation, such as myself, and all of us, we use that to bring the student voice right into the heart of the decision-making of the university. My team and I represent all of Heriot-Watt's UK-based students, and we work very closely with our counterparts in Dubai and Malaysia, the Student Council, the Student Association, to ensure that not just the students in the UK, but the students in all of our campuses, our global campuses, are heard and supported. But more than just that, and more than just a service and our events that we run, our job is to be a partner and a critical friend to the university. Heriot-Watt is rightly proud of its student-focused approach, and we're proud to be a part of that. But even the best institutions can have blind spots, and our role is to gently but firmly help steer the university back towards the student experience when that campus wobbles. We raise the questions that might not otherwise be asked, and we represent the lived realities of students who aren't always available to be in that room. That challenge that we provide is the value that we bring, because good partnership isn't always about agreeing, but it's about having that trust to disagree well, to speak honestly, and to keep students at the centre of every conversation, even when it can be uncomfortable. And we're proud of the strong relationship that we've built with the university, and one of the key ways that we work together is through the Student Partnership Agreement. Each year, this agreement is co-developed between the global student representatives and the university, and this year, our elected officers have also set 3 global priorities that we're driving forward with: reducing financial pressure that students are facing, improving the access to education and academic support, and building empowered, inclusive student communities. We're proud to be part of a university community that truly values our partnership, but we also know that real progress happens when students are not just consulted, but are co-creators of their own experience, and that's something that we're closely working towards this year. So thank you for listening and for supporting and for continuing to work alongside us. And I will now pass us to Professor Dame Heather McGregor in Dubai.
Hello and welcome from Heriot-Watt University in Dubai, where predictably the sun is shining, where we have had an excellent year. The campus is operating at full capacity, and as a campus, we have been celebrating our student achievements, our staff development, and our engagement with the wider community. And I'm delighted to be joined here by Professor Tyke O'Donovan and Professor Mercedes Moreto-Valla. So, Tyke, one of the big things about the last year was that we completed all of our CAA accreditation and put all of our programs through the CAA review. What does that really mean for people? Why was that a positive thing?
Having been here for 20 years, we are now fully federally accredited to deliver degree programs that are recognised not just here in Dubai, but across the UAE and of course across the GCC. Fundamentally, it is to benefit our graduates, and it'll create more opportunities for them. They're now more employable across the region here and of course globally.
But during the year, we also saw a lot of activity on campus in the form of the Climate Hub, where we turned the campus over for 2 weeks here in support of COP28.
You know, it was possibly one of the most exciting times to be in Dubai, certainly be in Heriot-Watt in my career. We brought, as you say, thousands of people through the campus, and we showcased, you know, everything that we do across the university. So obviously our research was very prominent, and the role that we have in developing clean and green technology and the potential for that clean and green technology. But it wasn't all about research. It was really important for us to demonstrate and to showcase the learning and the teaching and the educational processes, the pedagogies that we have, and how we're embedding sustainability within those degree programs. So I think we were on 49 different events between keynotes, speeches, and fireside chats, and large workshops and seminars. It was a very vibrant community, and we used our convening power, of course, to bring so many different partners.
So, Mercedes, you are our sustainability champion. How is Heriot-Watt getting on as a whole university in our sustainability targets?
Our environmental strategy is actually underpinned by 10 institutional commitments. So this is not something that we just are going to inspire or aspire to do. This is something we will be delivering through our commitments. More recently as well, we have published our climate action framework that gives us really the blueprint in terms of how we deliver these 10 commitments. We have an ambitious target to be net zero by no later than 2035. We cannot do this alone. We have to be all together as a community to make this happen. And I think here I want to highlight the role of our students and the role of advocacy, helping all of us collectively to achieve our ambition. And also broader than that, we have launched our climate advocacy course. We have rolled out that for our students, but we'll be rolling out that to all our staff and all our alumni.
Of course, COP28 was not your first rodeo by a long way. You've been to a number of COPs over the years. Why is it important for Heriot-Watt to participate in these events?
Attending these events is not the end of it. It's actually the beginning of the journey after the events, because we establish new collaborations in research, for learning, for teaching. We also get new partnerships as well, and we showcase the impact of our activities.
So, Tyke, just for last, coming to you, what do you think it means for our reputation to have welcomed so many high profile here during that time, which of course included His Majesty King Charles III. It included that at the time the Foreign Minister, Lord David Cameron, the at the time First Minister of Scotland. What does it mean for our reputation doing things like this?
It's always amazing to be able to welcome people to campus and to be able to welcome such a delegation. First of all and foremost, it's an honour for us to be able to do it. But it is also in recognition of the important role that I think that we play here in Dubai, in the UAE and across the Middle East.
Thank you, Tyke. So there you have it. We've had a fabulous year here in Dubai, and I'm now going to hand to my colleague and fellow provost, Professor Mushtaq Al-Atabi in Malaysia, to give you an update from there.
Thank you, Heather. Heriot-Watt University Malaysia started in 2012. It was one of the first UK universities to establish in Malaysia. And since then, we have been going from strength to strength. Last year, we've made two major important appointments that we're very proud of. For the position of our new Pro-Chancellor, we appointed Dr. Nicole David. Nicole David is a world-renowned sportswoman in squash, and many Malaysian and Malaysian youth look up to her. We also appointed Andrew Sill as our new chair of the board of directors. He brings with him decades of experience from the commercial field in the UK and also in Asia. These appointments are to strengthen our governance and also global connectedness so that we are able to provide the kind of education that Heriot-Watt University is well renowned for. Our campus in Malaysia is ultimately a community of global learners. We attract students from Malaysia, from the region, and from other parts of the world. Our students start their journey with us by articulating their sense of purpose, and they use that to support their volunteering activities. We also have the Go Global program that enables students to go from our campus to other campuses seamlessly. And we are proud that last year we celebrated the 1,000 students from Malaysia who transferred to our Edinburgh campus. Currently, our community is working on finalizing Strategy 2035, a strategy that will guide our development for the next 10 years. As a purpose-driven university, we opted to start the development of a strategy by developing an impact statement for our university. We are future shapers. Our purpose is to empower leaders to build an equitable, sustainable, and enriching society. Our community will leverage its global presence and focus expertise to provide applied learning and research to transform lives and address real-world challenges. This will be what underpins our development, and we look forward to hear from you, your views and your suggestions to enrich our strategy. Now, I hand back to Edinburgh to Penny McIntyre, our Global Director of HR.
Thank you. Firstly, it's an absolute pleasure to be able to present to you today in what is my first annual stakeholder event with this university. As Mushtaq said, my name's Penny McIntyre and I lead the global HR function. At Heriot-Watt, we're proud of our strong employer brand and high engagement, with 72% of our people planning to stay. In a challenging sector, this helps us to retain and attract top talent by showcasing our values, culture, and development opportunities. Last year, we had 26,000 job applications and achieved a direct hire rate of over 95%. We undertake a lot of statutory activity to meet our legal objectives and have published, amongst other documents, an ambitious Equality Outcomes Action Plan which spans the next 4 years. And we've also gained external accreditation this year from several organisations, which you can see on the slide behind me. Belonging and community are at the heart of Heriot-Watt. Our networks, societies and communities of practice foster inclusion, well-being and collaboration. A third of our staff cite supportive colleagues as a key part of working here. While our well-being score is marginally above average, we're committed to doing more through ongoing surveys and workload reviews to ensure our people continue to feel supported and valued. We continue to offer excellent and relevant development opportunities that reflect our commitment to continuous learning, personalised growth and future readiness. Our refreshed Stepping into Management programme is currently supporting the development of a cohort of both new and aspiring managers across all campuses. And applications are now open for the third cohort of the Global Leaders programme, which is designed to equip emerging leaders with the mindset and skills to thrive in a complex and global environment. And just literally that last week, I had the privilege of presenting certificates to graduates of our Digital Leaders programme, where participants shared inspiring stories of applied learning. Our internal coaching pool continues to grow, and we're proud to be now a professional member of the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, the MCC, a significant milestone for our coaches and our university. I wanted to finish off by mentioning one of our key values, celebrate. Something we embrace all year round, but in June, Celebration Weeks brings to life across our global campuses and recognises achievements and builds community. This year, we've received a record 502 nominations for the upcoming Celebrating Our People Awards, which is up 10% from last year. And we've also introduced a new Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Award. So I'm very much looking forward to my first celebration week at the university. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Penny. We now invite you to watch a short film covering Heriot-Watt's research excellence and industry impact.
Welcome. I'm really pleased to introduce three of my colleagues who are going to talk to you about the quality and impact of the research in photonics and quantum science that goes on at Heriot-Watt. And I want to pose the first question to Chris here. If you look back over the last year, what are the kind of standout achievements that you see in the research in Heriot-Watt?
One of the key areas that Heriot-Watt has long worked on, and we've still got a lot of world-leading research on, is the quantum internet. So that's an internet which is based on quantum communications, which are entirely free from hacking. We've opened a new optical ground station for quantum communications with satellites. We've also done research on optical fiber networks, which can be more robust than traditional fiber networks in transporting quantum information. And we're also working on new ways of making optical fibers. All of these applications taken together will mean that in the future, you can connect one computer to another with perfect security without any chance of it being hacked.
Heriot-Watt's making waves in cutting-edge fields like single photon detection, underwater imaging and quantum communications, which I know you're making a significant contribution to, Aurora.
Several researchers at Heriot-Watt use quantum detection technologies, and over the last few years, these technologies have seen a massive improvement. So this means faster data rate, higher sensitivity. Personally, I used this technology in single photon imaging, and more specifically in underwater. This technology is used in extremely challenging environments, but the idea behind it is that we use a very high sensitivity of this technology to detect extremely faint signal and to the level of a single photon.
Heriot-Watt has collaborated with almost 300 organisations on research, enterprise and talent development. Kevin, I wonder if you could talk about how they've enhanced the innovation within the university and how it makes us an attractive partner to work with industry.
The innovative research that we have worked on in the past and currently working on is really profound to industry and is leading to industry wanting to collaborate with us. One such recent example is in the Integrated Quantum Networks Hub that was mentioned earlier. Part of my role in that was to go out to industry and other stakeholders and encourage them to collaborate in this. As a result of those discussions, we found ourselves having over 40 industry stakeholders coming on board as formal partners, industry partners, with indicative contributions of over £20 million. And I think that demonstrates the faith that they have in innovative research.
So Kevin, I wonder if you could maybe talk also about the talent and skills pipeline that Heriot-Watt's contributed to from its research.
Over the last year, as you know, Heriot-Watt's been awarded and involved in a number of centres for doctoral training that will bring through and encourage that future skills talent pipeline. We're working with over 130 unique companies involved in that and hope to have nearly 400 new studentships coming through these centres for doctoral training over the course of that time.
So, I mean, it's been an exciting year at Heriot-Watt with Scottish Converged Challenge and some major successes there. Chris, I wonder if you could give us a little bit of insight into the people behind these.
In particular, there's been a very prestigious award for Professor Miha Malik, the Blavatnik Award for Young Scientists, for his work on the future quantum internet and the related technologies. You mentioned the Scottish Converged Challenge. These have all the winners from Heriot-Watt have been for technologies which address different aspects of achieving net zero. And the recognition is, of course, very important for the individual researchers, but also for Heriot-Watt in order to be able to attract additional external research funding.
I wondered, Aurora, if you could maybe talk about some of the initiatives that have been particularly successful this year in bringing the science agenda and the research much closer to the community.
Outreach has been extremely strong over the last year. For example, there was last summer the science softbox that was held at the Mound in the city center, and that one was directed to an extremely large audience. There are also other activities that involve families. Next summer there will be the summer exhibition at the Royal Society, showcasing the research with interactive demos. Another example is Heriot-Watt presence in several high schools.
Kevin, Aurora, Chris, thank you very much. And I'll pass back to Ruth Moyer in Edinburgh now.
Thank you very much, and thanks to all our presenters today. I now invite the Chair of Court to share his final remarks with us.
Thanks, Ruth, and thanks to all of you, whether here in Edinburgh or online, for joining us today. Your ongoing support and partnership are essential to the progress we continue to make at Heriot-Watt University. As we close this meeting and prepare to move to our open panel discussion, I'd like to return our attention just one final time to Strategy 2035 and to reassure that our commitment remains clear, which is to secure the financial sustainability and the impact of Heriot-Watt University for generations to come. As the principal highlighted, the Shaping Futures campaign launched just last year is also integral to our mission to transform lives, drive pioneering research, and tackle global challenges. Whether through your time, your advocacy, or your generosity, your involvement is crucial to making that difference. So before we conclude, we're going to move to our panel Q&A session, and I encourage you to ask questions and participate in the discussion, please, as we shape the next chapter of Heriot-Watt's journey. Thank you all very much.
Well, thanks once again to all our presenters today. We're joined in Edinburgh by about 400 people online, so we've got a big audience, and we would love to hear your questions. So it's now your opportunity to raise your questions or comments. For those of you online, you can raise a question through Teams, and we've got roving mics here in the James Watt Centre in Edinburgh to pick up questions from the audience. So over to you, and if anyone in the room would like to stick their hand up and ask a question, I may come to you first. Okay, Alistair.
So just out of interest, we were saying obviously the Dubai campus is operating at full capacity. What roughly are, say, the Edinburgh campus operating at? Are we close to that as well? It just always seems quite busy, and just curious.
Okay, thank you, Alistair. I'll put that question to Steve McLaughlin, our Vice Principal.
So on the Edinburgh campus, we are close to full capacity, but not quite at it. There is a little bit of scope, but not a huge amount for growth in terms of students to actually be here. You will know that over the past few years there was some pressure on accommodation across the city, but that's been rectified by a lot of investment and growth in that space.
Thanks very much. Actually, a linked question that somebody put in before the event is from a graduate who studied here in the 70s, and he's asked the question of about the international campuses. I'll come to you, Richard, for this one. He says, what's the continuing value of maintaining overseas campuses versus focusing attention and investment on the Scottish campuses?
Yeah, thank you, Ruth. Well, I think around 20 years ago, the university and its court made the decision it wanted to be a global university, to take Scottish education and Scottish values and Scottish companies and connectivity overseas. And what a, at the time, very brave ambition that was, to set up in Dubai and subsequently in Malaysia. And of course, all the work the business school did in online education in Africa particularly. So it's been really part of our whole heritage and mission as a charity to do just that. So we are really doing what we've undertaken to do to have that impact. But the great thing is, as I said, taking our Scottish values to enable people to enjoy a Scottish education. And I think it's a really amazing model, which is really taking Scotland to the world. So I think without that diversification of activity in Scotland, we would be a much smaller university if we were just a Scottish institution. So I'm so delighted to celebrate that we're having such impact and such influence in a world that's otherwise trying to segregate and insulate. We're not in that space.
Brilliant. Thanks, Richard. Any other questions in the room? Okay, we'll come to Tony first. And then we might just pass to you, Ross, after that. Thanks.
A number of speakers have commented on the arguably accelerating pace of change in higher education. Therefore, my question is really around how can your 10-year strategy be nimble enough to cope with the changes that you will face over the next 10 years?
That's a great question from a previous court member, an honorary graduate of the university. I think, Bruce, would you like to say a few words about that?
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Ruth. Yeah, it's a really good point. And I think, you know, any strategy that covers a 10-year period actually has to be based in principles, but not in so much detail that we are allowing the institution to be nimble, particularly with the operating plan. So I think that's what we have been doing and what we're trying to do. The impact statement for the university will serve as the kind of guiding North Star for the direction of travel. We've worked very closely in building the strategy with members of the university community to ensure that their voice has been heard and providing that additional detail. But I think, you know, in summary, the reality is that we're trying to provide the vision and the boldness without so much detail that we can be flexible as we move forward.
I think the other thing with that question is that we recognise we need to change in some ways in order to face into such an uncertain future. So we need the vision for that and the principles, as Bruce says. But some of the work we're doing is about how do we cope with that much change as an organisation. And I wonder, Penny, if you might like to comment on some of the ways in which we're thinking about how we take our people with us through change and, you know, the things that we might need to shift in the organisation management.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Ruth. We're doing a big piece of work as part of Strategy 2035 to really look at what are the drivers of change that are needed, not only with the kind of people and staff experience, but also some of the other pillars of the strategy. And so I think it would be fair to say that cultural change is coming up quite significantly across the board with regards to all of those different pillars. And so what we're doing is thinking about it from an organisational design perspective, about what needs to be true across, you know, capability, skills, capability, leadership, as well as some of the things around physical environment and also the kind of processes that we have used across the university. So we're looking at it very, very broadly and thinking about how that links in with very much change and also the cultural change that's needed.
Thank you. Shall we hand over to you, Mike?
Thanks. So I work in financial services on the technology side of things, and there's a lot of buzz around AI and the application of large language models. So I'm wondering how that is impacting the university from a strategy perspective and how it's impacting learning and teaching and research.
Okay, thank you very much. I think, Steve, I'll come to you for that one.
So the first thing to say is students are already using AI. And there probably was initial nervousness in terms of, oh, this is going to be used for teaching. Actually, it's a positive. The key is you're trying to teach the students the critical faculty they have to apply, and AI is an additional tool which is there for us. We're already looking at what it means. So if you look in the online program, how you actually interact with students and be able to scale that up. AI plays a key role in actually helping them to accelerate. And then, of course, it's how we would use the tools for AI in terms of our operating model that Penny and Ruth have referred to in terms as we start to work through that. And it'd be intriguing to know that we've taken all of the executive through an AI learning course so that they start to understand the key challenges that are ahead of us.
This is an example of teaching old dogs new tricks, I think. So we've also got questions online, so I'm going to come to a question from Carol Murray, and she's saying that it's just great to hear about all the achievements of the university across the years, but as we look forward and we have more students online, more widening participation learners, how will we provide for well-being when we're thinking about strategy and planning? I think this is a great question. I wonder, Richard, if you would like to comment on that and just thinking about the way we put people at the heart of what we do.
Yeah. I think the nature of people who we work with, who are studying from home or work, is a thing that we have been really doing for 32 years since the origin of the MBA in the business school. And there are many different types of learners who are learning online who have different needs. And I think we are learning continuously how best to support those learners. And this will be something that we will continue to be at the forefront of. But to give an example, last year we looked at people who had developed friendships online through their cohorts, and some marvelous stories of people who had developed friendships and dialogued on their well-being and formed very firm friendships. In fact, we made a short film of some people who we brought back here, a student from Zambia and a student from Norway, and they met here and talked about how their friendship had developed. So we're trying to build these aspects of well-being in, as well as utilizing tools to track how well people are studying or how they've responded to a piece of work, or if they're behind or haven't been online. So there's a whole cascade of interventions that we're building into the experience to try and make it as human as possible, recognizing that there are a whole range of people who have very different needs. So it's a continual process.
Great, thanks very much, Richard. And I've got a great question online for you, Jill. That given the financial pressures, as we've talked about today, and the context we operate in, how do we ensure continued value and benefit from our investments in partnerships with UK industry?
Thanks, Ruth. That's a great question, and it follows on very well from the video we saw earlier and Kevin talking about those partnerships. In terms of the future and value, there is a potential to realise great value through the alignment of our research excellence with the alignment of the needs of industry. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm very confident that Heriot-Watt will flourish in the future. And we've done that incredibly well. You've seen the example before around quantum, but also we host, in addition to quantum, we have 3 other national hubs here at that scale, at tens of millions of pounds from UK government, but also equivalent from industry-supported partnerships. So Mercedes heads up the IDRIC programme, again, massive national hub. We have the National Robotarium, and Richard mentioned transit. So I would say we're a very special university in that place, and that's certainly how universities will be evolving in the future.
Thank you, Jill. And I think we're placing partnerships centrally in our new strategy and really thinking about how we can optimise partnership relationships to add value to our students, staff and university. I wonder, Mercedes, with that lead-in from Jill, would you like to say a few words about your own research centre and how you work in partnership with industry?
Yes, I think it's very important nowadays that the value of the research is clearly and as quickly as possible translated into impact. So we work very closely on mission-driven centers, so we have a very clear objective of what we have to deliver, but also we do that in partnership, not just with industries, with what we call the end users of our research. And here is also very important how we engage with policymakers, how we engage with the general public, and how from the very beginning, from the set goal, we address challenges, we address those opportunities together. And I think what that has created is a trust. It's actually, they keep coming back for more opportunities, and that long-term relationship that is so important. I think in partnerships, it takes time to culture to get that partnership and create that trust. And I think as Heriot-Watt, we have established how we can develop trust and deliver an impact. And I think that's really important in terms of for us going forward and where our focus should remain.
Great, thank you so much, Mercedes. And I've got a question here about what are the priorities for the new strategy as we look forward. And I'm going to ask Steve to comment on this, and then Cameron from a student perspective to put in some comments. So Steve, over to you first.
So in the process of developing Strategy 2035, so we start out with the impact statement because strategy is meaningless without the absolutely clear on your purpose. We set the staff and the students to be absolutely at the heart. And the key thrusts are employability as an ethos, because our purpose is here to serve our students. And we're very strong at that, but to seek to grow that. And that we see growth strategies very much around partnerships, absolutely at the heart. That's partnerships and how we deliver our education, both transnationally and with industry. Partnerships in how we grow and expand our research, both in terms of the investment, but actually delivering for society and the economy. And then we also have the virtual or online campus. So it's about that flexibility of learning. The cost for students to go into higher education is a challenge that faces all of the major economies across the world. So that accessibility, modularity, flexibility that our online programs offer, how we translate that through all of our degrees is critical. And actually ties right back to the origins of Heriot-Watt, where we were created as a night school to deliver the skills that were needed by the local economy. So we see that as absolutely at the heart of our missions in terms of our growth strategies.
Great, thank you. And Cameron, actually, there's a supplementary question here, which was directed to you about what you see as the common challenges or experiences that you would like to see really reflected back in Strategy 2035.
Yeah, I think picking just a little bit off what Steve's just said, we know that the thing that comes up all the time from students is their concern about the future. Employability is the big concern that students see. And I think being involved in the development of Strategy 25, we're embedding employability into all the courses. Every single thing we do, it should be about employing our students, getting our students ready for employability. And I think that's one of the big elements that we're going to be really seeing. We're also trying to make sure that students aren't just surviving anymore. We want them to thrive and to have that availability to actually excel at their academics in life. So I think that's some of the key things that I'm really, really happy to see in the strategy, and I'm really looking forward to it. What about the second part?
It's really about the common challenges that you see across the student body, and so how we address them in our strategy.
Yeah, the common challenges that we're seeing at the moment and going forward is the accessibility for education. Students are incredibly time poor. It's the biggest issue we see at the moment. Students aren't really able to get involved in societies or extracurricular activities anymore because they're working extra jobs or they can't really afford to live. The economy is it affects everyone. It affects students the most as well. But because they're so time poor, and we identified that, and we're making our delivery of programs and our courses really agile and flexible for our students. As well as the online options that students, if they can't actually afford to make it into campus, they have that availability to do work online, and I'm really excited to see that.
Thank you very much. Now, we've got time for one final question from Ian in the third row back. Craig, just in the... Thank you.
Thanks. My particular interest is entrepreneurship. The university is creating lots of fantastic technologies. And what are we doing to encourage the next generation of ambitious technology companies that are going to take on the world?
Brilliant, thank you. And this is one for Jill Murray.
Definitely, what a great way to end this morning. So yeah, thanks very much for that. As an institution, I would say we are a very entrepreneurial institution, and we have embraced supporting entrepreneurship in many different ways. And I'm actually delighted that we have an associate principal for Enterprise, Gabby Madero, who is here in the audience today, and is in fact a leading scientist and a leading entrepreneur with a very successful business in building sustainable bricks and building materials. So across the university, I think we have a great blend of enabling our leading researchers to be also leading entrepreneurs. But over the last period of the report, we've also taken that further and developed pathways all the way through the organisation to support entrepreneurship. So we have a number of programmes through the Research Futures that we've developed. We've actually developed new career pathways to enable people to be promoted for these activities, and we've been working with the CDTs to embed that within our activities. And the last thing that we've done, I'm sure we're running out of time, is also we've created an entrepreneurial minds series where we are embedding entrepreneurship right from the start when the students actually apply to come to Heriot-Watt, and we support them all the way through that journey. So a very exciting time for entrepreneurship, and as Ruth said before, I truly believe that entrepreneurial mindset is really required within universities, not just to create the exciting companies of the future, but also to help us evolve and respond to change in the future as an organisation.
That's great. Thank you so much. I'm sorry we have run out of time for questions now, but thanks very much for your participation and your presence in the meeting. Thanks to everyone who has joined us. We're now going to close with our wonderful Heriot-Watt choir performing a Zambian folk song that we prepared for the Zambian President's Honorary Degree last year. It's called Bonse Aba. Thank you very much.
Bonse Aba, no boke la bali pele maka akuba bana. Bonse Aba.